Right. So we have Leroy on the podcast today. A little backstory, actually, if you guys didn't know. So we actually met at UCSB in college in California. Do you even remember the when we first met or no?
Yes, I remember. That was in one of it was a class we had together. It was like a health nutrition class, I think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, we were sitting front row together.
Yeah. And then at the end of the class or something, I can't remember why. It was like maybe did you get that homework or did you hear that bit? And then like I think we
Yeah, I
went
didn't.
did
I,
the
I
test
didn't do the
together.
homework, and I was asking you if you did the homework, and then you said, "No, I didn't do it either." And then,
Nah, nah, nah. Bro, it was an easy class. I know for sure.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
anyways, so yeah, we met there and it's interesting because we have almost a similar background in that. Well, we're both from Europe. I grew up in the UK. He
Mm.
grew up in Germany, and then he was doing, soccer or football.
Yeah.
In the D1 team in UCSB. I mean, they weren't the best at sports, but like the best thing was soccer. So he was doing that, and obviously I was doing bodybuilding at the time. So yeah, maybe we can just jump into kind of your background first on football because I want to know how you got to UCSB in the first place. Right? So,
Mm.
like, how did you start off and come through the ranks and then go from Germany to America? That's a big leap, right?
Yeah, there was a big step. Well, I was playing football, and it's called football. My whole life pretty much. I started pretty young in my hometown here in Germany. It's called Zülpich. Oh, actually, Zinznig is the village where I used to start playing when I was like 3 years old. And then I
Mm,
played there until I was like six, went to the next biggest city around, which is Zülpich. Played there. I was still playing on the field back then as a field player. And then I moved into the goalkeeper position when I was 12 because I thought it was like an interesting position to be in.
mhm.
And I moved to the goalkeeper position and yeah, I did pretty well at it in my first year and then moved up to the next biggest team, played youth Bundesliga as well then for a team. And from there it began to become more professional when then I moved out at the age of 15. I moved to the south of Germany, so Cologne, that's where the area around is based in the west of Germany.
Mhm.
And I moved down to Nuremberg, Fürth in Germany. That's in the south, like 4.5, 5 hours away from from my hometown at that time, where I lived in the house together with one of my best friends until this day now. And
Okay.
then I played there for 2 years. And then it was actually a second Bundesliga team at that time. And after a year, I went up to the pros, started the training with them, and then it came to the time where they offered me a pro contract when
Yeah.
I was supposed to turn 18.
Okay.
But then, then unfortunately, like a week before I turned 18, my appendix busted, and I went to hospital. I was there for 2 months because it was a pretty big surgery because I nearly died on that surgery, or because
Yeah.
it busted actually. And yeah, then the team told me, well, you were in hospital now for 2 months. We're not going to give you the contract anymore. And then
Damn.
the window in Germany for transferring was already over, so I couldn't transfer. So
Yeah.
I then moved to England, to Barnsley, where I used to live
Okay.
for,
Yeah.
yeah, I used to live there for 4 months and play with Barnsley. At
Not
that
not a
time, they
nice
were
area,
playing.
or I don't even know if I've been there
Oh,
before.
yeah, it was all right. It was all right. It was different, but I enjoyed the time there. I really enjoyed hanging out with the guys because I was living with them as well, with my
Yeah.
teammate at Barnsley then. It was a great experience to just move to a different country to play the sport that you do, and to get to know other people. I'm still in touch with some of them guys until now, and
Okay.
yeah, they didn't offer me they offered me a 1 year contract, but without the opportunity to really play. So I said that doesn't make sense for me. I want to still play, and then my agent told me, why don't you move to the US? Right, and then
Mm.
you can study there and you can play football or soccer, I would call it there. In the US at a high
Yeah.
level. So that's a great opportunity. I get my uni done. I get my degree, and I can still play and come back eventually, which I then did. At the end now,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was pretty much the move that I made to the US.
Yeah. I mean, couple things even before that. I mean, interesting small world. I think my brother went to a German exchange in Nuremberg, but the
Oh
appendix thing,
wow,
I didn't even know that actually. So
you know,
yeah,
yeah.
like, that's serious, because that's when you have this pain. I remember whenever I get belly aches when I was younger, my dad had his appendix taken out, and you get
Oh
like
yeah.
most people have like a scar, and I remember when I was younger, like, whenever I get a fucking, a pain in my stomach on the right side, I was like, "Oh, is my appendix gonna burst?" But Did you
Yeah,
like, you say you almost died, that must have mean, because if you leave it and
yeah,
explodes in you, then you die, right? So, like, how
yeah.
tell me about the process there. Were you like I can imagine you almost being like, "Ah, it's just gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine." And then, eventually you're like, "I need to go to the hospital." Like, tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, it was actually a bit of a funny story because I had the opportunity to be in the travel roster for the upcoming game. Would be a huge deal for me with the professionals. One of the goalkeepers got injured or sick, I think, and there was opportunity for me. If they would have given it, I don't know, but it was for me in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can be there, playing with them because
Yeah.
they don't down. The second backup keeper is injured. I'm the next in line. I could be traveling with them. It was actually a home game
Yeah.
on a Saturday, I remember, and I come back from school because I was still in high school at that time, from school, and I left school early because I had the stomach pain,
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
right area. That's where the appendix is, where it hurts. And then I came already like back home to my home, like crunched forward because I couldn't, breathe up and stuff. And I said, "Oh, what's that? I have to
Yeah.
train today. It's important." So I went to the hospital and I told the doctor, "Listen, I don't care what you have to do, but get me to training. I don't know how.
Yeah.
It hurts." And where he then did a mistake, which almost cost my life because he didn't do any blood tests, he didn't do any X-ray, nothing, with the
Yeah.
little thing to check it out. He would have easily seen my inflammation values were up the sky, and I need to get the appendix out, because it was almost bursted at Thursday.
Yeah.
And I think it was between a shift, so he wanted to get home and just gave me some strong painkillers,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, I was okay, no, perfect. It's just a stomach ache, I thought, so mentally I was prepared. It's just a stomach ache. What could happen?
Yeah.
So I popped the ibuprofen and went to practice. I always drove my bicycle to practice, drove to practice, and then yeah, I did this first two exercises, hop over those sticks and then jump, and I went down, and then I directly, oh no,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
doesn't feel right. And then I threw up almost, and then I went home because
Yeah.
I couldn't train. I canceled training, went home, and then
Yeah.
at home, then I guess on the right, already there, it just bursted. I don't know, how that happens, but it just happened.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then,
It actually burst.
yeah, it burst. It burst.
Damn.
When I was at home, I got unconscious in my bed. It was around 7 p.m. Luckily, I woke up then again short after that, like, I don't know, very short after that, but I had enormous pain. I had like difficulty after a while breathing. I
Damn.
thought just that the stomach ache got worse, but then when I started to had the difficulty breathing, because I'm not sure what the muscle is called around your stomach that makes you breathe. It's all around your
Diaphragm or something
stomach.
like that.
Yeah, so you needed to breathe, and it was inflamed because when it bursts, all these like bacteria and start to attack the rest of the organs.
Yeah.
My buddy drove me to hospital then, and then on the way I got unconscious again, and then they pulled me in with I don't know, with the bed thing, with the
Yeah.
breathing
Yeah.
mask,
Yeah.
and then they had emergency surgery on it. And, luckily everything went well, but the doctor said, you might call your dad because there's a chance you might not make the surgery, you know.
Bro.
And yeah, it was a long surgery, and I had issues now last year because of that surgery, because they cut a lot of things in my stomach, and those
Yeah.
scars, the scar tissue inside, you don't see it. I didn't know it was really tight,
Yeah.
and so I had an issue last year in my groin area where I thought it was an inflammation of the groin, but actually it's because it got tight. My
Yeah.
my body's posture was all like shifted, and this is why I had a constant flex on the hamstrings and the groin area. And then, with PT and everything, they
Loosened up.
they it loosened up, and then it was all fine again. But yeah, that's the backstory on that.
Damn. That's crazy. So, like, did you think at one point, like, were you panicking, like, I'm gonna die, or were you always
Oh
were you
yeah,
kind of
when he told me that in the hospital, I was like, oh, I guess it's not that. Yeah, but then I said, well, in that situation, what are you gonna do about it, right? There's
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
options: either you make it or you not make it, and the rest is
Yeah.
it's not in your hand, you
Yeah.
know.
Can you remember a lot of it, or, you're just unconscious then, and then you wake up and you're
Yeah,
like
it was really fast. It was blurry, I just remember next thing you know, I'm unconscious. I'm in the car. I told my friend drove me. He actually carried me to the car because I couldn't walk anymore. And then yeah, there it went really quick. And when I woke up, my dad was there. That was good. He was there in the room waiting.
yeah.
And yeah, from there it was just a long, long recovery process. I lost like 20 kilograms. How much is that in pounds? It's like
It's like
45.
45, 44
45,
pounds,
yeah,
something like that.
I lost 45 pounds, and back then I was really like, I'm still fit, but back then I was really lean when you get in trainings and
Yeah.
everything. So I lost a lot of muscle mass, and I was like this.
Yeah, 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 and you're a tall guy, so, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and then tell me from there. So, you know, you had this big setback, you had the opportunity to get, you know, contract, but obviously because of the appendix bursting, you weren't able to, you know, follow through with that. But kind of walk me
Mhm.
through that, like, in hindsight, almost is that a blessing? Because maybe you would have never gone to America then, and, you know, I mean, there were some big
Yes.
things there. So kind of I know even before that, you went to Newbury College, right, in COVID, you know, so you did that.
Mhm.
Tell me even about that before you went to UCSB, because you didn't go straight from Barnsley to
No.
yeah, so tell
No.
me about that.
Well, but you're completely right. If this didn't have wouldn't have happened with the appendix, I would probably have signed somewhere in Germany and would have stayed here, you know, but it gave me the opportunity to go to England, to go to the US, and to just have like I said, being in the US was a blessing for me because I learned so much on an individual, on a business level, or even on a sport. You know, I really improved myself.
Yeah,
And yeah, I always say that the life is already written. You know, you're just part of it. Yeah, the book that you have is already written, and you just go page by page.
yeah,
And I think it's already, you know, foreseen that I had to go. And who knows what would have happened if I stayed in Germany? Maybe I wouldn't have had these opportunities I have now, or I would probably have taken a complete different life than what it is for me now.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's
But
interesting because, you know, I went to straight from England to America, and
mhm,
initially I was playing rugby at the time in the UK, and the reason I
yeah,
even looked at the UCs is because I was planning on playing rugby at either UC Berkeley or UCLA. I didn't even know I'd
okay.
never heard of UC Santa Barbara, like, it's such a
Oh,
small
wow.
school, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and yeah, I did the UC system. Long story short, like I ended up not
Mhm.
doing rugby. You know, when COVID hit, I started doing bodybuilding, and you know, next thing you know, I was
Yes.
it's like, oh, you know, UCSB is close to Gold's Gym, all of that stuff. But there's
Yeah.
something to be said, I think, about you know, I grew up in London, you grew up in Germany, and then you go and have a
Mhm.
start in another country. I mean, it's like you almost get a blank slate again. Like I'm sure you didn't. There was no other
Yeah.
German people, English people moving there, so you knew no one, right?
Yeah, I didn't know anybody. Let's say I didn't know anybody from my surroundings at that time, you know, and
Yeah,
it was a big shift for me because I didn't go straight to UCSB or to a Division One school. I went first to a D2 school in South Carolina, Newberry, right? And
yeah,
looking back on it now, it was for me one of the best times I had in the US was in Newberry. But the
mm,
first week there, I was like horrific. I was like, I want to go back. You know, what is this? Like, you have to imagine, I came from the pros in Germany to a D2 school in South Carolina where they trained and practiced you know, played the games and practiced at the same field. And it was like a really, really bad field at that time. Now they have improvements
okay,
made where they have actually a turf field and an actual game field. But in the beginning, now it was like, it was a major step back for me, I thought. You know, when I remember when I flew to the US, I was like, oh, is this the right decision? I'm not really sure.
mm,
And
mm,
obviously, before I went there, I was looking up soccer, you know, UC or like US soccer, how is it, college soccer? And it was like, oh, weird fans and sometimes no fans. And then you have the weird tournaments, Big West, that's what my league, or conference tournaments, NCAA, and there's a
yeah,
penalty golden goal. I was like, what is that golden goal? You know, like you don't have that in Europe, you know, in the big leagues. Um, but funny enough, I then just typed in college soccer fans, something like, and UCSB came up because there was
okay,
like they have one of the biggest soccer stadiums in the US because it was the old
really,
American football stadium. Yeah, and the
yeah,
UCSB stadium is actually one of the biggest ones in the US. And they have like, you know, when we played against Cal Poly, we had 16,000 fans in the stadium. That's like
right,
almost relatable to pro league level in Europe. You know,
yeah,
obviously
yeah,
not second Bundesliga or first, or not even third in Germany where I played now, but fourth division. There's sometimes more fans in college than in the fourth division, at least for
yeah,
UCSB. And
yeah,
I told my agent I want to go to UCSB, and he said, "Oh, we are pretty late in the process of moving because all the rosters of the coaches were already full. The coaches would have already made their rosters, the goalies, the teams they wanted."
mhm.
And I was a week before school started. Pretty much, I applied to the schools, so
Okay, okay,
I was already
yeah,
very late in the process. So the
yeah,
only schools that came back to me was Rutgers. There was a D1 school at that time, but it wasn't a full scholarship. And then Newberry came around, you know, with full scholarship, everything taken care of. I was like, yeah, that's great. It's just let's use this as as a jumping
stepping
board to
stone.
go somewhere else, stepping
Mhm.
stone. And then I flew to Newberry. I remember I had to fly into Charlotte because there wasn't really a way of me flying into Columbia. There is one, but it's just a very small airport, and there was no direct flight, or connecting wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
flew into, and my first trip to was a horror trip It was like late. The plane in Frankfurt already delayed. Went to Manchester, which wasn't supposed to go to Manchester. Manchester, I missed my flight. I got stuck at the airport for 8 hours.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Instead of flying straight to Charlotte, I had to fly to Orlando, missed the flight in Orlando, slept at the Orlando airport, and then flew straight to Charlotte from there. It was a horror trip. And then
Yeah, yeah.
one of my old teammates picked me up, and then from there I went to Newbury. And when I arrived, I was like, what is that? Where's the college?
Yeah.
Where's like
It
everything?
didn't look any like fancy or anything.
No,
Like, bro.
no, not at all, not at all. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a shock. I went into my room, and it was like a shared room as well. I have no problem sharing rooms, but it was a shared room, and it was like it looked like jail, almost like a jail cell. Like blue
Yeah.
mattress and like bunker beds, and it's like, oh no, this is not right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it's
big
funny
shock.
because I remember UCSB. I mean, I know you because you transferred. I don't know if you were you never stayed in the dorms, did you? I can't imagine you in the
No, I
dorms,
never
but
said. I didn't want to stay in the dorms. I wanted
yeah,
to have my own place because I
bro.
got I got shocked by Newberry already.
In the first year, I was in a triple dorm, and it's smaller than my room is smaller than this place I'm in right now. You know what I'm saying? Just this room,
Yeah,
and I'm in with two other people. Couldn't believe it. It was
yeah.
crazy, but
Which dorm was that?
it was Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa. It was
Oh
near
yeah,
the
yes,
DO.
yes.
Yeah, the
I
DOG down.
remember.
You came there
Yeah,
actually. We did
yeah,
a
I know.
assignment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Yeah. So you get to Newbury, and then tell me about. So you played a couple games there. As a goalkeeper, and then
Yeah,
before. So you
I
did
was
one
there
year there,
for
and then
I
you
was there for
transferred.
2 years.
Okay. Yeah. 2 years.
I came in Newberry. I came to Newberry to 2020, 20, 2019. 2019, I
Yeah.
arrived at Newberry, and well, the first week for me, I was thinking, should I go back, just fly straight back and don't even try it here in the US, or should I actually just execute the plan? And that's eventually what led me to my place. Just execute the plan. This might not be the best option right now, but maybe this option will leverage yourself if you just grind it out to a higher position in the future. So then I said to myself, let's just do it. Let's see where it takes
Yeah.
me. It's a new country. I came there with empty pockets, empty hands, nothing, just a backpack pretty much, and said, let's just do it, and see where it takes me.
Yeah.
Started training with the team. The guys were unbelievable, like great guys. There was a guy from London as well. His name is Levi. We actually have the same tattoo right now. We share a tattoo.
Okay.
The
Okay.
French
That's
tattoo,
cool.
the French tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just a really good time there because it was so close and so familiar. It was so small that it was like a big. It had only had like almost 4,000 students on campus, like very small. So it was like a big
Okay.
family. Like
Yeah.
everybody on the campus. And then my first year was really successful. I think we won the SAC championship there. We
Mhm.
went to the tournament, and then we lost in the tournament, but it was very successful. I got freshman of the year. I got defensive goalkeeper, goalkeeper of the year there. So I had my first awards, which was like new for me. What is that, goalkeeper of the year? Like, or something like freshman of the year. I didn't even know what a freshman was until then.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, then the big hit was COVID, pretty much, where COVID hit and all sports got shut down except football. Football was still training. So then the
Yeah.
football coach came up to me, and I was always good with the football team guys as well.
Mhm.
Until this day, I'm good with them. And some of them went to bigger schools, some of them went to the NFL, which is great for them guys. I really, I'm really happy for them. And then they started saying, just come to football. You're big, you're tall, you're good with your hands because you're a goalkeeper, you're fast. Just try it. Captain's practice, the coach allowed it. I had captain's practice. I did pretty good, the guy said. And then they allowed me to the team, where then spring season started. My goalkeeper, my soccer coach, he didn't like that. He was pissed. He wanted to
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
away
Don't
my
get injured or
scholarship.
anything. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to take my scholarship away. But then football gave me a new scholarship. So I said, all right, it's fine. I just stick with football then because it made a lot of fun for me. I enjoyed it playing a lot.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden I was thinking, well, should I continue playing football now or should I continue playing soccer? And then I started writing to some schools, and UCSB came back to me in less than a day
Yeah.
saying, we want you come to UCSB. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, because the first school I looked at before flying to the US was
Was easier.
UCSB. So
Mhm.
the circle closed. So that's my sign. I have to go to UCSB now. And until this day, I went to Coach Knight, that's the head coach of football team. I said, please let me take the practice jersey or something. I really enjoyed it and I appreciate you letting me be here. Let me take it with me. He said, just take it. So I still have the football jersey here. I was number 12 back then. I remember, and I played wide receiver. I played wide receiver for them.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I went to UCSB, and from there, it was the best time of playing soccer or football in my whole life, pretty much. This was like my prime, I would say, where I really got to know the sport, the capabilities that I have. I have to push myself every day because now you're at a Division One level, and we actually had a pretty good team in 2021. All the teams were good, but 2021 was my first season at UCSB. We won the Big West
Very cool.
Championship,
Yeah.
went to
Yeah.
the nationals as well. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, transitioning to UCSB, what about it really made you come into your own with the soccer? You know what I'm saying? Like what actually, because obviously being there, I could experience it a bit. They had the basketball players and the soccer players. They're the only two real athletes. I mean, they had like athletics, but I didn't know anyone that was doing that.
Mm.
Or was it because of the regular practice? Was it because you had your own gym? Like they had like really good coaches? Like what about it made you turn into, or like have the potential and the level that you rose to? What about it?
Yeah, well, first of all, my dream was always to go back to Germany to play professionally in Germany or to go to the MLS, which is the first league in the US for soccer. And a big deal for me was that it was actually first school I looked at. It had a great stadium. I mean, you can't beat Santa Barbara. It's straight on the beach. The stadium is great. The grass is amazing. It was actually better than the grass we had here in the third Bundesliga stadium
Mhm.
in Germany. And the facilities were great. We had a huge gym just for the athletes. We had a great PT section, where we had like full-time trainer in there who helped us with everything. The first, it was a great school. The UC schools is a great school as well. I had a full ride plus taking care of housing, etc. Like all these benefits,
Yeah.
which was really good. And there was an opportunity for me to go to the next level and one step closer, ultimately, of fulfilling my dream of becoming a professional.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, because seeing you there, right? So the other thing I wanted to ask you about is the biggest differences. I mean, so you grew up playing, soccer in Germany. You go to Newbury, then you come to USSB. Like, what's the biggest difference in the culture of the people, but also like just the environment? You know what I'm saying? Like, was it a big shock to you, as in like America versus Germany? And I'm assuming
Mhm.
obviously Newbury and USSB are very different as well. Like, tell me about the difference and what you found.
Oh yeah, well, I think the biggest change that to go from Germany to the US is really just the mindset, not just the mindset alone, because here in Europe there's always like things they say about US, it's X, Y, and Z, and it's better over here. And if you really listen to it, you start believing it, right?
Yeah,
But I never listened to it. I was like, okay, let me go there and have my own experience. So I went there, and everything that people said here about the US and Germany wasn't true for me. Like, I
yeah,
think the US is a great country. This is why I made the choice for myself. I actually want to spend my rest of my life there, and
yeah,
go back to the US and live there. Um, the biggest change is just like the mindset of the people, where it's like, if you do something, I'll support you with it. It was always like a great welcoming. Like everybody was friendly. They were all, oh, you're an athlete. Nice, what you do. How can I help you with something? If you need something, let me know. Maybe the connections you do with the people interacting, they're not as deep. Where
yeah,
I say here in Germany, once you get to know someone, it's a friend or it's a contact that you have for a really long time. In the USA, I think it's a bit like, sometimes flashy, yeah, yeah, bro, yeah, of course, yeah, we're friends. But then if something happens, it's not really friends. It's just like, but it's a nice interaction. Everybody is
yeah.
happy and smiling here in Germany, or it's like, I don't know you, what you want. Oh,
Same
you play
same in the
soccer. I
UK.
don't,
Same in the
yeah,
UK.
I
Yeah,
don't, I don't care. You play football. I don't care, But that was a great, that's why I also love the US. And, yeah, it just opened my mind to, oh, there's actually something more than just being a professional or being a professional is awesome, but there's a different aspect to life where, for example, business, when you go to New York or when you go to LA or especially in New York in the financial district, where I used to spend a lot of time as well in the US, you start to imagine yourself, wow, this is like huge.
yeah,
Right, this is nothing you compare to anything in Germany, just the business side alone. And this is why I ultimately said to myself, "Oh, I want to get down this road a bit more and just learn about it and see where it can take me as well."
yeah, yeah. Definitely want to expand on that, in a little bit because I get it, growing up in London as well, and then but seeing like, yeah, go to New York, and if you're in like
Yeah.
a, a part of Germany, you can't even imagine the size of the
No.
building, like the
Yeah,
energy, the
no.
vibe, like it just makes you think bigger, right?
Yeah, like when like the town, the village I grew up in is how many people is there? 500 people, you know. It's on the
Okay, yeah.
land. We have cows, we have forest around. You go to New York, you're
Yeah.
overwhelmed. In
Yeah,
general,
yeah, yeah.
everything is bigger in the US, and I have a lot of people here in Germany or young goalkeepers, I'm a goalkeeper, or even athletes, they ask me, "Hey, Leroy, would you recommend me, because you were successful in the USA and you play pro, would you recommend me going to the US?" And I said, "No doubt about it. You have to go to the US. Expand
Yeah,
your horizon, try new things, get out your comfort zone."
yeah.
Right? You're 18, 19. What do you have to lose? What are 5 years in your life doing in a different country or doing something else in the lifespan? The
Yeah,
experience you gain is ultimately for you so important. You can't compare it to somebody who never made the step. Somebody I always say to myself, also other people, if you have two people, the one person stays in the circle the whole time and in the neighborhood and in the town, and the one who expands his horizon and goes to X, Y, and Z places will always be the more successful one
yeah.
in any life matter.
Yeah, I think it's actually it's almost crazy actually. I'm connecting some dots when you're saying that, because you didn't know my dad is Dutch, and he grew up
Yeah.
in the countryside in the Netherlands. So he grew up in a
Okay.
small town in the Netherlands, and he
Yeah.
actually, long story short, like he went to university in Rotterdam.
Mm.
He did really
Oh yeah.
well in law, and then he went. He had like opportunity for this. It was called moot court or something. He had like a law competition. He wins in the Netherlands, so he gets to represent the Netherlands as a country in New York.
Oh wow.
He gets
Oh,
flown
that's
out to New
crazy.
York for the first time, and
Yeah.
his mind was blown. And just when you're
Yeah.
saying that, like right there, you're just saying like, oh, there's two people, and like, get outside your comfort zone, and you need to like, an 18-year-old asked you, he said go. The reason I actually went to America is because he from a young age he was always saying you need to go. Like he was like, you
Yes.
don't like everything changed for him because he
Mhm.
thought bigger when he went to New York, right? He ended up going to NYU, and then,
Oh
that's
wow.
what even where I was born, right? But it's like his mindset, he just couldn't. No one in a small town in the Netherlands can even understand the levels in America until you
No.
go there, right? So
You
it's
you
crazy
ca
to think
you
like
you
how
you you
you had that
you
same
know, you
experience.
the mind can't comprehend that what's going on, especially, but that's what I'm saying, to anything. Obviously, going to a different country is a huge step, but it doesn't
Yeah,
even need to be like that. Just in your town, do something new, try something new, just try it and see what skills you may have, because if you just the whole day run in a circle, you don't even know, maybe you can also jump, but if you don't try it, you
yeah,
will never know. So you have to grow a skill set, and this is what, well, if you do these extreme things, you are actually forced to grow a new skill set, to first advance the language. You have to communicate with people. Then how do you get around? How do you make your own money? Figure out yourself. I was cutting hair a long time. I started
yeah,
cutting hair in Newberry because I didn't have any side income. And America is, compared to Germany, where I'm from, is expensive. And if you want to fly and you have a lifestyle, you have to, do something, to entertain that.
yeah. No, yeah, definitely wanna get onto that. A couple questions I just had before we get onto the business entrepreneurship stuff. One thing you said was the people in Germany, they had never been to America, but they had this, oh, it's better here, America is not for you. I remember like it's probably a similar thing in the UK, people in the UK, they complain about everything. I don't know if you experience this in Barnsley, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
weather, everything, but they still say that and they'll never go outside. But I remember going
Crazy.
to UCSB and I was, in Santa Barbara, and you'll experience this too. And I was like,
Yeah.
no way is this real. Like people actually just live here
Yes.
every day. It's like a holiday every in a sense, like unreal weather, all
It
this
is.
stuff. So like what kind of viewpoints did the people in Germany have of America? Like what was so bad about it, you know?
Well, what's the word again for when you say something about things? Superstition. No, it's not superstition. It's
Like
like,
describe? No, like
no, it's like
assume?
when yeah, people assume a lot, and
Mm.
they were saying, oh, the politics, and you have to be careful, because they have guns. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's just it's different, right? But just because it's different, it doesn't mean it's bad, or it's not as good as here.
Yeah.
Or the school system, okay, we can discuss about the school system. There's uni here and there's uni in the US, and there's different type of facilities that you can go to, and some might be here and some might be lower, or but you pick and choose yourself what you want to do. If you want to become like your dad, become an attorney, become the best in what he's doing, he doesn't go to a school who is not offering him that, right? So you can pick and choose your own future. And if you want to be lazy and you go to a school to just go to school, well, you can do it here as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
100%.
there was that, and then yeah, it's just like some people were saying, well, if you go there, you will never turn pro because the level MLS, what is MLS, you know? Okay, okay, let them talk. Okay, and then I came back, I signed pro. You know,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
you're in the control of your own belief and your own mindset. People will always say something because maybe either they had the same dreams and never had the balls to do it.
yeah,
They failed along the way and didn't stand up and try to do it. So now they're trying to put their dreams on you and assume that you're gonna fail as well, which
yeah,
is
yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
they
you have
have
to
like
always believe in yourself.
failures, and then they have limitations because they're failures, and they try and project it onto you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and then one more thing I wanted to touch on is you said so the people, if I gather correctly, you were saying the people in America, they're just way more friendly surface level, but you're saying almost
Mhm,
deep down though they're not as loyal in a sense as people. You're saying in Germany the people, everyone to new people, they're like very closed off to their own circle, but if you're actually friends with people in Germany,
mhm.
they're the ones who are actually going to be super loyal, like that friend who helped you. Is that kind of what you meant? Like you found that in America the
Yes.
people, yeah, they're very friendly, but they're kind of surface level. They're not like deep and actually there for you in times of crisis. Was that your experience?
Yeah, I don't want to put everybody, in the
Yeah, yeah,
same,
yeah. Of course.
there's
Lots.
obviously this kind of people and these kind of people, but that was my experience in the beginning. Like when I first came to the US and I needed help, well, how do you, well, everybody was friendly. Oh, you're from Germany, so cool. You're the goalkeeper. Yeah, so cool. Yeah, yeah, it's, it's meet, it's do this, X, Y, and Z. Okay, nice. Can you help me drive me to Walmart?
Yeah,
Ah, actually, I'm busy. I have training and I have homework. Okay, no problem. I walk then because Walmart was like 10 minutes away with the car. I take I take a couple bike trips. In the beginning, I didn't have a bike. So can you have, no, actually, that's what I mean. Whereas here in Germany, when it takes a long time to become a friend or become in a situationship, but then if something happens, they are there, and they're supportive, but it takes you a really long time to break the ice. Whereas in the US or even in UCSB, you know how it was when we had like all these people in the stadium watching our games, and you were pictures of myself everywhere in the uni or whatnot. Oh yeah, that's Leroy, the goalkeeper and isn't that? But actually, like, how are you? How are you doing today? It's never on a personal basis. It's always like more, let's take a picture, and or it's like obviously I can't expect from a fan to ask me on a deep level how I'm feeling, but I'm just saying, if you have somebody and you want to be a friend, that's the way to do it.
yeah, yeah. I hear that. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, yeah,
Like
I
for
was
example,
always.
you and me. That's the best example. We
Mm.
we met in a class, and you could have said, "Well, who's that guy?" Or like whatnot. But then it was an interaction of events that happened that led us to now still talking. Me still being a friend with you over. No, how long was it now? 2 or 3 years we haven't seen each other in
Yeah,
person,
like
right?
2 years, I think, right? Or three
Yeah,
years. 2 years.
yeah, 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I'm from the UK, so maybe that's part of it, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was always surprised by the energy. I feel like for me, when I come to the US, I feel like people they think bigger, like
Mhm.
in America, like if you're doing business or you're doing sport, like first of all, they take
Yeah.
sport seriously. I don't know about in Germany
Mhm.
because the Bundesliga is a big thing, but in the UK, when I was doing rugby, for example, it's not seen like even if you're professional, it's not seen as like prestigious, if that makes sense. But in America,
Yeah,
like if you're an
absolutely.
athlete, that's the same as like anything else. It's just as
Mhm.
they take it seriously. Like they have D1. Like
Yeah.
they don't have D1 in the
Yeah,
UK.
that's good that you mentioned that because I feel like in Germany, if you're in the community of becoming a professional, or you're in the community of you're in the pro community, you play in the first, second, third, fourth Bundesliga.
Mm.
There's no fourth Bundesliga, just one to three Bundesliga. The fourth is the Regionalliga. That's what they call it. But if you're in there, you are appreciated, and people know and they value it. But outside of that bubble, there's a lot of people who don't even care. Whereas, like you say, in the US, if you're a basketball player, if you're a baseball player, and you're successful, if you're a dancer and you're successful, they will appreciate it. Like, oh yeah, you put in the work, now you are there.
Yeah,
That's what I think is great. There's a different mindset of sports in general and business as well.
yeah. In business, in America, if you start a business, people are like, "Oh, that's great." Like,
Mm.
here's some advice. Like they try and help, but in the UK, if you start a business, people are like, "Oh, like this guy, he thinks like he can actually do it. Like he thinks he's better than us. Like he thinks that he can." It's a very different mindset. And even
Yeah.
when I was talking to the other day, you're saying that it costs what, 15,000 euros to incorporate a company or something like that. In the US,
Mhm.
I think it's like even the actual barriers to entry are higher in Europe, which is why there's such a big difference in the business in America
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
Europe. It's
I
just
would
crazy.
al I would almost say in the US, it's they, motivate you and make it easy for you to start something, to become somebody. And if you have a passion for something and you can help other people with your passion, or you create a product, a service like you do, you help people becoming in a better shape or something, they support that. Whereas here in Germany, it's very, very hard. You have a lot of stages you have to do in order to actually just have a paper that says you have now a business, but how much it'll cost you to be there? And do you have that money already? Or, with everything that comes with it, it's just a huge process. Whereas in the US, because I had my goalkeeper glove brand in the US,
Yeah.
um, it was easy. It was very easy. It made it work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we can touch on the development in the more on the football career and going back to Germany in a second.
Yeah,
But I want to
yeah,
touch on
sure.
that because something interesting, right, with you, I learned is you've always been like you've always had an entrepreneurship mindset in a sense. Like I remember you showed me these videos when I was actually first posting my content. You were one of the people that helped me like understand how to use Adobe Premiere Pro. It looked like Chinese to me.
Mm.
You helped me kind of understand. Um, and you showed me that you did videography as a business, like for maybe restaurants or something like that, and you would go
Yeah.
in, you shoot their stuff, make put it on the website, etc. Kind of, and then obviously you did the haircut in used to be on the side. We even worked the door sometimes. Like you would get jobs and at parties and stuff. So it's like it seems like you've kind of, at least when I know you, you've always had that mindset. To have something on the side.
Mhm.
Doing that, and a lot of people in America aren't like that. The majority of people obviously just doing their studies and having fun. It was UCSB, right?
Yeah.
Where did that come
Mhm.
from? Where did this entrepreneurship kind of mindset you know, when you grew up in a town with only 500 people, like, is that in the family? Did you just always have
Yeah.
that you inspired by certain people? What happened there?
Mhm. Well, it was always, I would say, in the back of the head. What happens if, you actually become a professional at the age of 25 or even earlier, and then you get injured and you can't play anymore? What are you doing then? The best thing is that you have something you can fall back on, you can rely on. For example, if you have a degree, or if you have a hobby that you could become a professional in your hobby now. But for me, it was, I think, out of also because I was by myself on the early age on, and I didn't want to ask my parents for money. So I was like, what can I do now to make it easier for my parents and also for me, so I can buy my things a better dinner or go out with my friends. Because it was like when I first moved, there were people, they were obviously already getting paid for playing football or had bigger contracts, and you can't compare yourself with them. And you just moved out and they are now in the pros and they drive nice cars and they go out to eat every day. No, I
Yeah.
was doing my pasta at home, driving a bicycle.
Yeah.
Mm. So then that's when I started doing, because I always had a passion for videography and photography, right? And this is when I started to actually, talk to restaurants in the area. Let me do pictures for you. Let me do some videos for you. And then, $250, $500, and then from there on, I always was thinking, oh, it's actually nice, because everything you need pretty much is your mind working to figure
Mhm.
out what you can do to make a side income, you know?
Yeah. 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 So you had that, and then you started haircuts in Newbury, and then
Yeah.
even progressing from that, you had the software company kind of with the game consoles. If you could maybe expand on that a
Mhm.
bit, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So there was actually right before I moved to the US, in 2019. Well, actually, I think it was my first time back to Germany from the US. It was like 3 months after I went. I was back before summer or something, I think. And then I have a friend who is a software developer, right? And I told him, hey, just start something because I have my agent. He needs an app done for his players. So we started working on this, and then we started doing little websites on the side. And we grew in that scenario until then in 2023, we were taking a step. Now we did like very small work, but it was a fun doing. It was a little side income.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity to create software and hardware. Now, hardware is something new we have never done before for the arcade industry. Um, It was an arcade that opened up here in Germany, which was one of the first to open up, to bring this model back into life in Germany. And I just told him we can do anything you want, right? And we
Yeah, yeah,
couldn't, but we had a timeline to figure it out, and we figured it out. And then we started doing this. And from 2023 until now, we are actually leading the market in Germany with our solution, and now expanding into different countries, selling our card readers. There's also an intent the card reader replace the original coin slots, right? If you want to play, let's say, in an arcade, like say a traditional game like Pac-Man or Space
yeah.
Invader, basketball or flipper, you usually throw in a coin and the game will start, but we replace the coin slot by our card reader with an RFID game card.
Interesting. Yeah. So you had this small initial solution for your agent, and then from
Mhm.
doing that, okay, we can work together on some other things. You started on
Yeah.
this, new project, and now you've kind of talked me through how you've worked and expanded that. Because at least from my observation, I think it's interesting because I read Steve Jobs' autobiography, and if you know about
Hmm.
him, he was the kind of visionary. He kind of would talk with stores on getting his Apple product and stuff, and he was more like the guy who was like managing people. And then he had this
Hmm.
friend called Steve Wozniak, who was the guy actually making the Apple computers. Like Steve Jobs didn't make the computer, right? Like, and
Yeah.
in the same way, it's almost like you are like, at least from my perspective, you seem to be good at like you understand marketing, you understand sales, you
Hmm.
understand management, but you're not like
Yes.
you're not a software engineer. But if you can find the
No.
work and you can connect it almost like
Hmm.
connect the work to someone who knows how to do it, that's like
Yeah.
your expertise in a sense. That's your value, because otherwise this person as well, they wouldn't know maybe what to do. They wouldn't know the vision. They wouldn't know how to use their skill. So kind of how did you, am I right there? First of all, would you say that that's kind of your skill set?
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't know how to code. Now, I know what the app is doing, what our software is doing, but I wouldn't know how to actually write it or how to solve a problem with it. That's why my friend Kevin is doing all of that. And he's really like, he's a professional in that sense. He's doing that
Yeah.
to a level where I haven't met anybody who can do things that he does with a keyboard and a monitor.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
at that, right? But then also, he's good at this, but maybe not as good at other things. Where him and me, we merge together, and we have a strong union with that sense. And
Yeah.
we would never, like, we involved slowly of just doing a website, an app, and then we did a CRM, like customer relation module,
Yeah.
for a small company. And then I said, let's just do 3D models. Let's just, photorealistic 3D models for somebody. If you want to open up a business, you need to write a business plan. And to make it more suitable for the bank to see what you want to do, you present them. Let's say you want to open up a restaurant. You present them a pre-made look of the restaurant in a 3D model. So this guy called me and said, we need a 3D model for our arcade. And I knew arcades from Dave and Buster's in the US already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was just thinking outside the box and saying, okay, this technology, they need the software, they need the hardware. So, but who's doing it? There was a company from the US, and I told them, because I know the guy, we have a small relationship, and asked him, let's talk transparent. Who's doing it for you? How much they're charging you? And he was like, yeah, they charge us 80. I said, all right, no problem. We do it for half of it. And,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was a great deal for him. And he was asking me, can you do it? I said, no. I said, yes. The software, I knew Kevin can do it, and I knew if we put our heads together and we lock each other up for 3 months, we will figure out how to do the hardware, and we did it. And this is what that was the start of how our company has been making a big jump.
Yeah, I think it's interesting there as well, because it's just like the mindset when you go into America, you in this position right here. It's like a lot of people, they wait for the perfect time. Everything needs to be perfect, and then okay, I can do this. But for you, it's like,
No, no,
okay, let me just
there's no
take the leap,
perfect time.
and then I'm going to figure it out afterwards. I'm going to get the
Yeah,
job, I can do it, and
mm,
then we're going to figure out. It's not like so.
yeah,
I feel like I've seen that in myself, other people, and that's
mm.
always the people that do the best. They don't wait for everything to be perfect. Like you need to, you know,
Yeah, because life isn't perfect. Life simply isn't perfect. Life is a very ruthless place to be, I would say, because here on the watch, the seconds, they just go by. Every day you don't do anything, the second pass. This is actually what I was really extreme when I was still professional, or me in the US. I was always thinking, oh no, I'm not training right now. There's
Yeah,
somebody else who's training right now. What am I doing? Let stand up, push ups, go run, do something.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but I'm very extreme, and this is why I also sometimes have an issue with people who are not like that, because
yeah,
maybe I'm too pushy, but I'm just trying to help, I'm trying to bring the product that we have or the thing that I'm doing to the best of my abilities. Because if you're not the best, if you're second, you already lost. There's only one people, somebody who will win or will get the job, who will become professional. There's a very small percentage of people that I played with, maybe 1,000, just 3 went professional, because they
yeah,
did
yeah,
every decision right, because life is about decisions. Every
yeah.
decision you do right now may not have effect tomorrow, but maybe in 3 years, the decision you make today, this is the important decision.
Have you watched
That's
The Last Dance with Michael Jordan?
no, no, no.
Oh, you should. It's a great Netflix series, but the point
Yeah.
is like his teammates. You think that because they won the championships, they're like, oh,
Mm.
he's great. They're all like almost scared of him because for him to
Oh
bring them
yeah.
to his level, he's not a nice guy to be around. But he's doing it because he wants everyone to win. But that doesn't mean he's like a nice
Yes.
guy, right? So I
Yeah,
mean,
I understand.
one
Yeah.
thing from being at UCSB, I remember speaking with some other guy from Montreal actually, and
Mm.
I met him at Gold's Gym Venice, and I remember, I was in UCSB. He came down. We did a session with him and Ben. You remember Ben? And he
Yes.
said, "Oh, this is a bubble. This is not real life." I think you said this as
Yeah.
well, something like that. Like
Yeah.
UCSB is a small beach town, and they have obviously the great soccer. They have great, teachers, professors, etc. But it's not real life. Like these are a
Yeah.
certain type of people.
Yeah,
These are
it's
not
not
like
real life.
representative of the
No,
world. Like,
yeah.
what was your experience as well? Trying to be a student athlete, you're doing your Zaves goalkeeper gloves as well. You have your own business on the side. You're doing hairdressing, like, and there's a lot of distractions. I didn't know this before I went to. Maybe you knew this with the crowds and stuff, but
No, I
UCSB is
didn't
not
know
is
it
like
as well.
like
I
a
knew there
party
was a
school.
big crowd. Yeah, I
Yeah,
knew there
yeah,
was a big crowd, but I didn't know, like, I would lie if I say nothing, but I knew a little bit, but I didn't know that it was full blasted, like party every
yeah,
day, 8 a.m. to 8 a.m., 24/7 party. Somewhere is a party. If you're part of a
yeah,
frat, somewhere is a party. If you're not, there's still a party somewhere for you.
yeah.
But then it goes back to the decisions, right?
Mhm.
Am I going now to the party, or am I going to sleep early because I have an exam tomorrow or I have a training in the morning? It was always my decision that I said. I said myself, what is my ultimate goal? My goal is to become a professional. And is
Yeah,
this decision right now helping me to achieve my goal, or is this a step back? Right? Because
yeah,
honestly, if you drink, right, and you go out, you don't get your maximum amount of sleep. As a bodybuilder, you have to really take care of your body. It's probably more than I did at my
mhm,
time. But yeah, that's what I told to the guys as well. And this is why I think in 2021 we had a team where we had a lot of minds that thought alike. Like exactly like, no, we're not going out. We have captains. We tell the freshmen we're not going out. We're staying in. If you go out, you're cut. I don't care. I want to become the best.
yeah,
I want to win championship. 2022, 2023, we didn't have these characters anymore. Where we just had maybe 1 or 2 or 3 on the team, including me as well. And then we had a lot of freshmen, and they come and they're overwhelmed. We had a lot of freshmen. So they were like, oh yes, party here, party there. And then we didn't
yeah,
win a championship in 2022, 23, ultimately because of that. And you can only do so much. It's a team sport, so the team has to function,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, did you find one of the points I was also trying to make there is like, so yeah, obviously you need to make the decisions within the distractions, and there was a lot of distractions,
Yes.
in Santa Barbara, specifically. But were you very aware the whole time, like, yeah, I'm here right now, but I had this feeling a lot of the time that a lot of the people there, my close people, they lived in California their whole lives, but they didn't
Mm.
understand. It's like it is a bubble, this is not real
Yeah.
life, very sheltered. This is not like, as you say, business is ruthless, to a big extent, and it's like you understand this in sport. You're competing against all these other countries. Did you ever almost like you felt because it's even though yeah you make decisions, it's hard to overcome your environment a lot of the time. So you're saying you had a
Mm.
good environment in 2021, but the other years, the environment overcame the team. Is kind of what you're saying. Like, how did you
Exactly.
find that? Like
Yeah.
being in an environment that maybe again, it's difficult because you're in a team in football, so you need to rely on everyone else, and you can do your
Mm.
part, but it doesn't mean you're going to win. So how did you like mentally get through that? You know?
Well, mentally, I always say. control the controllables, right? Control what you can control, and if it's not in your control, you can't do anything about it. I can't control if somebody wants to go out party or wants to have a drink too much. Or I could just tell them, and I lead by example. We have a game, we have this. Let's But if they're not going to do it, there's nothing else. So I made the decision for myself. Try to be the best version of yourself every day, and try to put as much as you can towards the team, help wherever you can. But ultimately, it's your dream, it's your life, right? And you have to focus on that. There may be distraction left and right, and people are going out, or because that's UCSB, everybody was going out all the time,
Yeah.
or even the decision sitting in the front row. As a student athlete, you don't have a lot of time to learn or study. Especially me, I never studied for school, but I was already always sitting front row. So because it was a decision, I could have also sat in the back and went on my phone or did anything else. No, I went front row because actually now the professor see me, I have to pay attention. I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
That's what college was easy for me because of that, right?
Yeah.
It's a decision as well, because if I don't get the good grades, I can't play, right? And then yeah, ultimately, like you said, UCSB was a bubble. Like, where else in the world do you wake up? There's always sun, there's
Bro.
no rain. Like maybe
Yeah.
twice a year there's rain. You
Yeah.
have the ocean right there. You have unlimited food. You have beautiful people all around you. you
Mm.
know, where else do you have that? And everybody's happy. Like, oh yeah, overwhelmed by everything. And they go, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's run around in a bikini. Let's go to school with the tank top on. Like, where do you have that?
Yeah. Yeah. Skateboarding, going to
Yeah.
class with all these guys wearing
Yeah,
sandals,
no,
it's crazy.
no. So this is exactly then where you have to hold yourself accountable,
Yeah.
because nobody's telling you wake up at 8 a.m. and go run, or do this X, Y, and Z. Um, but this is ultimately, I became then in Division One. I was, I got a lot of awards. I was defender of the year, defender of the month a couple of times. I was goalkeeper of the year. That's why I have these awards there. I think that's goalkeeper of the year.
Big
First
West.
team, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the big was, yeah. Then first team all conference, and then the gold one is athlete of the year of whole UCSB. And the community of Santa Barbara completely.
Yeah.
There's so many else, but you don't achieve that by just going partying or anything. And then I was lucky enough to be strong enough as well to do it. But then I got lucky to actually get invited after college, to get in touch early with pro teams in the MLS already.
Yeah.
And I was already talking with pro teams in my junior year, 1 year before senior year. And then in my senior year, I went to a lot of trials and combines. And for example, San Jose Earthquakes, they invited me for their preseason. So while I was still in college in the spring season, I was always with San Jose Earthquakes in my last year. They came to Santa Barbara because it was a nice area to train. They came, I trained with them for a month. Then I went to Chicago Fire. I went to what was the other one? Chicago Fire and Real Salt Lake. There was another one. There were a lot of teams I was in touch with, but then San Jose Earthquakes, they told me they wanted to sign me for the draft. They draft me.
Yeah.
And then that's now 2023. That was 2023, end of 2023. The draft was, I think, on the 23rd or 24th of December, right across Christmas. So I thought, okay, I'm going to fly back home for Christmas because I'm going to start training with them in January. They call me a day early, say, I'm sorry, we can't draft you because we don't have a green card and we don't have a spot for you anymore. We just signed a new guy.
Yeah.
So that was then my dream of becoming a pro in the US was over, But luckily I was training here with the fourth division team at the time, Alemannia Aachen. That's then when I signed. Then the next day I signed with them, and we actually won the league. The next year then we got promoted to the third Bundesliga. I mean, this was crazy. We had like in the last year 30,000 like people watching our games every game, pretty much.
Yeah. It's a big, big, big. I saw photos. Big stadiums. So
Yeah, it was a great experience, and then but funny enough, right after I signed with the Alemannia Aachen team, MLS team called me. I think it was Kansas City, and they were, oh, we want to sign you now because you did. No, it was Whitecaps. It was the Whitecaps, and they called me and said, we want to sign you now. I said, sorry, I just signed with a team in Germany. It's too late
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I know, but then again, why is that? Is there a different reason? And I think the reason was because maybe, unfortunately, maybe football isn't for me. Maybe my book of life is something else in place. You know, where I stopped playing football now, I was very grateful to experience all the professional league here and get all the attention from the fans and be in the environment. I really enjoyed it, but unfortunately, I don't think it wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy it in the end because it was too much politics, especially at my team here. And now on this, at the same time, the business picked up more and more, like the software business.
Yeah.
And I had to see which way do I go? Do I continue investing my time in the sport where maybe I make the big jump to the big leagues, or stay in a third, which is still a good league? Or do I invest all my time in the business and do something for myself in the future? And this is eventually what I decided to do.
Yeah, I think the big thing there is when you're playing a team sport. I grew up playing
Mhm.
rugby, and the nature of it is, yeah, a lot of the times it's difficult when it's not in your control. It's the coach's decision ultimately who he decides to play, take someone else from another team, what contract they write up for you versus someone else. And, you know,
Yeah,
especially someone I can see, you're saying control the controllables, but obviously we want to control the outcome to the biggest extent we can. And you're
yeah,
limited in a team sport to an extent, right? So
yeah,
even remember, in UCSB, a couple times you just had conversations, and I think this is just the nature of sport as well. Like it's a lot of times it seems on people are it's just straight A to B, but it's never straight A to B. There's always
never.
these things that
Oh,
come up and down. But
yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting because I went and did an entrepreneurial thing. Bodybuilding is very much again very much I control everything, right? So and I
Mhm.
like that, and I feel like you have a similar personality in that way. And when you have a business, yeah, sure, you might have someone in the team, but you can control that way more than like having a coach, right? So is that kind of one of the biggest things that like made you okay? Look, this is picking up. This fit maybe like what I want to do long term because you can't do football forever as well, right? And
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah, is that kind of what led you to make that decision at that time?
Mm. Yeah, 100%. It was also a decision where the team told me we're going to give you a new contract for the third Bundesliga, and you and the other goalkeeper, you're going in as the two goalies, and you're going to compete, and the best pretty much is playing. Maybe I went into as a backup goalie as well, but that's fine for me. If somebody is there, because as a goalie only one person can play, and I played a long time in UCSB. There was not one game I didn't play in the season, and there were other goalies behind me, and they had to understand the position. And I say without them, I wouldn't have been so good because they supported me. If I had
Maybe your
backup
toes as
goalies
well.
who didn't, who didn't like me or had jealousy or envy, you don't know, because then all of a sudden the balls in training, it's really important that all the balls that you get, they are on point. They're here in the head, they're here. And if they are left and right and they kick like idiots, you're not going to get better. But they helped me getting better. So didn't have any issue with being a second or backup goalie in the third Bundesliga and have the opportunity to improve myself even more. And eventually, with hard work and discipline, become the number one.
Yeah.
That's what they told me. And then 2 weeks after, we had 5 other goalkeepers in the training camp, right? Because of a deal that didn't go for the other keeper. It was a contract deal where they said you have to extend your contract to the other goalie. He didn't want to do it. So then they wanted to kick him out. And then they had 5 other goalkeepers coming in, and none of them was really good, so they didn't sign anyone from them. Then they
Yeah.
signed a goalkeeper from loan from the first Bundesliga that came down, and obviously he's playing, which we all had a really good relationship, but then it's not really sport anymore. In the US, it was, hard work, and eventually the best guy will play best to their abilities. But in Europe,
True.
it's the sport is way more advanced, and it's a business, more than a business it is in college, 100%, and even more than it is in the MLS. Like it's a business. It's not about the person anymore. It's just like you may be better, but if we sign this guy, he has a better contract for us. We can sell him, and then we make a better profit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just a number, and I didn't want to be involved in that system anymore. Where then also I bought myself a car, right? And then all of a sudden it was, oh, why did you buy the car? Blah 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 blah, and like all these questions arise from the managing area, from the team. Where I said, what's the issue with me buying a car? I work hard for my money. Beside football, I do something on the side. So what is it your interest where I get my money from to buy me a car, And then
Yeah.
it got like really weird. And I said, I don't want to be involved in this system anymore. I want to be in control of my own future. And so then I
Yeah.
said, I don't need it anymore. I did my contract until July this year. And then I said, I could have went to different directions, different clubs, yes, and I could have went also back to the US and play second division in the US. But I said to myself, no, I want to become the best in my business,
Yeah.
invest in myself.
So just to be clear, from this point onwards, like going to the MLS, like if you were to get a call, for example, with the Kansas, if was it the Kansas
White
City
Caps, White
Whitecaps, right?
Caps.
Like that, is that on the tables, or it purely is just from this point onwards doubling down the business?
Yeah, no, from this point onward, I think the train has already passed.
Yeah,
If there was, I think the train's already gone to get on the train. And well, let's say this: if I want to throw the whole business away and everything I built, and just I would find a team in the fourth division, and I know how to do it. I know how to write myself up. I would work, become the best again, and then go up the league. But is it really worth it? For me. And uh, if you make a decision, you have to stick with it. It's not, oh, one day I do this, the other day I do that.
yeah,
Obviously, I love the sport, and I miss it a lot, and I flew back now to the US for 3 weeks in November.
yeah.
And I was training with the college team again with UCSB. That was great to be there again. But then I realized, I'm in a different part of my life right now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so doubling down on the business stuff, right? I mean, look, the difference between doing football or bodybuilding or rugby is it has a limited half life. Like, as in, like
Mm,
you're until a certain age where you're at your physical peak, and then from there you need to find something else to do anyway. So it's inevitable that you do something else. It's just when, right? So for
yeah.
me in rugby, I made that decision at 17 or 18. For you, it's right now. But like business and entrepreneurship, what I mean, that is forever. The difference is if you compound skills there, they're going to compound forever as long as you keep working, right? So like,
Yeah.
walk me through like where your head's at. And also, actually, one more question even before we go on to that. You were still at a company in UCSB, which was the goalkeeper gloves, right? Talk to me
Mhm.
about doing that and doing that alongside being a student athlete, having classes, etc. Because you're balancing a lot on your plate right there.
Yeah, but that's like it doesn't matter if you have a structure to your day, right? If you have a good structure to your day, and you like, I always structured my day. I'm not sure if you remember, but I always had a schedule right over my desk where it says Monday, wake up here, do X, Y, and Z, then to school, do practice, do this. If you follow the plan and execute, you will have enough time to do anything you want.
Yeah,
You prioritize the things you want. For me, it was always the biggest or the hardest thing with working my business in Germany at the same time was the time difference. It was 9 hours. So when I woke up, they went to sleep. When I went to sleep, they just woke up. And so sometimes I had to wake up at 4 a.m. to just check is there an important email coming in, and then then go back to sleep. If yes, do 30 minutes, then go back to sleep.
yeah,
But that went well. Because at that time, the business here, so it didn't pick up yet. We had one client which just opened, and then in the next 6 months, I went back to Germany anyways, right? So it all worked out. Like maybe that was also why I had to go back, because now we have over 25 clients. We grew a lot in this 1 year, 1.5, 2 years, I would say.
yeah.
Um,
And when it
mhm.
comes to growing from that 1 to the 25, you know, what is it? Is it referrals? Is it you're figuring out a new way to do marketing? Is it that you're reaching out via new
Mm,
ways? Like, kind of what
mm.
is it that took you
Well,
to 25?
I can only speak about my experience and because we have a niche product. We have like a niche market where not everybody needs our product. Whereas if, let's say, if you sell candles, everybody could need a candle, but a card reader for your arcade, who has a card reader, who has an arcade, who needs what we do, right? So
Yeah,
for us, it was just like really, we were lucky to be at the right place at the right time, because it was the first. We did a really good job, and then it was just mouth to mouth. People came into and take a look. Then people, oh, we want to open up an arcade ourselves because this is a great business case. Okay, but what do we need? Okay, they see now they have the card reader, so they call us. We need the same. So, and then from there on until now, it got a lot more professional on our side. Like we now, obviously we didn't have a website for a long time. We were just doing clients, and they were seeing, so how do you have a website? No, why? Because we don't have time to do a website.
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
and it's just Kevin and I. We were a two-man show until I would say 4 months ago. Then we hired two guys as a mini job where they work and help us with installations. And yeah,
And
marketing is everything. That's everything that I do. Sales, customer relationship. It's a lot of work. You have to really be behind it, and get on it and do the things you have to do. Otherwise, it's like I say, they call somebody else. You know.
yeah. Yeah, 100%. When it comes, because I even saw you doing for the Zaves, one of the most interesting things is paid advertising. Like you already doing like meta ads, I don't know if it's
Oh
Facebook or
yeah.
just Instagram ones. Like, where
Mhm.
did you just learn from trial and error? Was there someone who taught you? Did you learn on yourself on YouTube videos or something? Like, where did you
Mhm.
learn? There's no school for entrepreneurship, right? You don't have to learn these skills on your own. Like,
No, yeah, life is the best teacher, and
oh,
obviously so with Zaves, this is like a hard project, it's like my baby because it was part of my job, I would say, part of my profession, playing professional and being, a big part of my life. So I have really big hands, as you know. And then when I was younger playing in Germany, there were no glove company who had custom made gloves for my size. They were saying like, yeah, you need to order 20 pairs and it's expensive. We couldn't afford it. So then I started saying, okay, let me just invent my own pairs, and in Germany I already had my own pairs and I was always wearing them for myself. But
yeah.
then when I went to the US, obviously in UCSB, you have a big stage, you get broadcast on ESPN and people get to know you, your Instagram grows if you do it right. And then people see, oh, what are the gloves that he's wearing? Because now you have people that are playing high school, they're looking up to you, and they say, well, I want to buy your gloves. And I said, oh, yeah, why didn't I sell my gloves? So then I did my gloves and in different sizes and just gave it to them. And it went well. And then from there, I said, okay, I need a website, I need a Shopify, and then let me do marketing. Let me know. And look, I haven't done anything in the last years, and I still have people buying the gloves. It's in the US. So now I actually brought it to Germany and formed the company here for just the gloves, where I involved two other friends of me. I have friends like goalkeepers as well. One I played with, the other one I knew from the US time as well. He's back in Germany, and
Mhm.
now we are selling the gloves here in Germany.
Yeah, I mean, the most interesting thing there, I think, would be so you have an e-commerce product. Like you have the product, you have a manufacturer, you have the design, and then you have it on the website, and it's like Amazon. You can go click a pair, ship it to
Yeah.
yourself. Like, I guess what I'm asking is like, where did you just like have the idea and then you do it one step at a time? Like, I need to make a store. Okay, let me figure out.
Mhm.
Or like, I don't know. Was there someone else? There's a blueprint out there. Like, how were you
Oh
learning?
no, there's no hands out. There's how I did it. I was looking where can I find somebody to make the gloves. So I was doing research. Then I had the guy who made the gloves. He made the first model sample. It was like shit, like that. The glove fell apart.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the net and look for somebody else. Found a better manufacturer. Imported. They were great. I'm wearing them myself still until this day, the gloves. And then you say, okay, now I need a website. Now I need Shopify. How do I do Shopify? YouTube, podcasts, just I got advice from somebody that is he's older as well, but he is a good friend of me. He's from the UK as well. He was one of the first rugby players that came over from the UK over to the US and then
Okay.
went to play football. Went to the NFL, very successful, formed a couple businesses, was really successful. And he just told me the advice: become the best version of yourself and become the best at what you do. Become a professional. If you want to be
Mm.
a hair cutter, become the best. Become the best at analyzing the hair. You need to know what you need to do. So when I was applying that to all of my life right now, at that time I was like, okay, now I need Shopify. Let me become the best at become Shopify. But then there is a very small line where you say, don't do it extensively, where you just consume things and you don't do it as you go. And if you see now you need transportation, you add transportation, and then you see where do I now stock all the gloves? I put them all in my closet, you just find a way as you go. If you really want something to work, you will figure it out.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think the biggest thing there is like, it's that element of focus, when you're picking
Yeah.
something, you're deciding to go all in on that. And then, the best marketing as well is you have the best product, right? Then you're saying word of mouth, etc. Like that's how it spreads. But
Yes.
um the biggest thing there is like, okay, well, we have the mindset, right? We need to become the best at what we're doing. But the biggest question
Hmm.
before that is how do I know what to do? Like a question I had for you actually is if you knew what you knew now and you were 18 years
Yeah.
old
Hmm.
in your body, but you're in 2025, right? what would you do in today's? Is there a business model you'd be doing? Is there like, you'd be doing something with AI? Is there a certain company that you'd be like, because there's all these different things you can do, but we only have a certain amount of time in the day. So what is there something that you'd pick? Or do you think you'd be doing similar things to what you're doing right now? Or you try to, right? Like, how do you know what business to work on?
So if I would be 18 right now with all the knowledge I have now, um, I would go again to the US
Hmm.
and I would try to go to a Division One school earlier. I would definitely go to the US again. I would tell myself, go now. You're 18. As a year earlier as I went, I would go directly. I would maybe even go to high school, finish high school there, or go to college, Division One straight away, and just because there's always, when you look back, there's always things that you said, oh man, I could have improved that. I could have used maybe the ICA, which was our gym, a bit more and trained with all the opportunities I have and really grasp. And I would probably tell myself, do that and really focus on becoming a professional in the US. Maybe, I would have got drafted a year early and there was a green card spot. And then the life takes a different approach. That's for my soccer version, a
Yeah.
football player version. And for the business version, I would say, when I was 18, and start a business a year early and directly focus on creating the card reader. But that's what I know, because no, obviously you didn't know. I didn't even know what arcade was back then. But I would say focus, whatever you do, focus on it and try to become the best at it.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I mean, and then the thing is, right, I think this is just like the beauty of the setbacks, because a lot of the times, for example, again, that sounds like if you the football, soccer, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
and you got drafted a year early and you got the green card to play in America, then it's just straight A to B. And sometimes when things come
Yes.
too easy in a sense, you don't appreciate them. But then
Yeah.
sometimes, if that happens, and then you're back in Germany right now, you're working your business,
Mhm.
you're progressing that, you're learning more, etc. And then we've spoken about the long term goal being eventually to come back to America. I mean, the beauty of that, right, is that if you have that goal and it happens, when you're there, then you appreciate it more, right? And
Yeah,
even if
exactly.
you take it, you don't let it go to, I don't know. I'm saying the opportunity comes and you really jump on it because you realize
Mhm.
how precious and important it is because it wasn't so easy to get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And I can do the same example, for example, with you. If you say you want to become a pro bodybuilder and tomorrow you're at the, what is it, IFB? What is the biggest stage
Maybe
of
pro. Yeah,
bodybuilding?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
next thing
yeah,
you hold the medal up or whatever. That's too easy. You didn't enjoy the process of doing it. Setbacks. Setbacks are very important for people to learn and adjust, find things, and then really think, what did I do wrong? Did I have to setback right now, to analyze it and take 3 steps forward the next time? And it's a process. And I love the grind. I love to just figure it out. I love problems, because if there wouldn't be problems, that means you're doing anything wrong anyways, right? But if you don't
yeah,
achieve the problems and you shoot like a troubleshooter, right? There's no way of making a progress. And as you say, now that you have done all the way, I've been in the US, but I knew my time isn't yet to stay there. So
yeah,
I go back and grind even harder, because I know eventually at some point I manifest I will be in the US. And when I'm then there in 2030, that's my deadline for the
yeah.
time. I know what it took to be there again.
Yeah. I think the beauty of, trailblazing in a sense, like, you're doing a
Mhm.
path. There's no other person from Germany in your town that has gone to the US and gone back to Germany, played in, the leagues. It's like the beauty of trailblazing your own path or even entrepreneurship is like a very harsh mirror, because if you do what
Yes.
everyone else does, it's like, a lot of people, they'll get by, they do what everyone else does, but they don't have
Hmm.
to become like excellent. They don't have to become great to like make it. But if you want to do your own path, you know, then it's not gonna be easy because everyone will do it, right? So
Hmm.
then you have, like, harsh feedback from the world,
Yes.
this is wrong," and then you need to really look in the mirror and say, "Okay, what did I do wrong?" And it's a very
You're
harsh
right.
mirror, and
Yeah.
so I think, in my own experience coming to America, doing bodybuilding, I graduated a year early to move to Houston because I think there's
Hmm.
way more opportunity in Texas for bodybuilding than there is. Santa Barbara's a small town, right? No one is even doing bodybuilding, so if I stayed there, that's a year
Yeah.
wasted, you know what I'm saying? What's the point of being the
Yes.
best bodybuilder in Santa Barbara when there's no one doing it? It's silly, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
You need to
but at
go
the
there
same
with
time,
the competition. With competition, you'll grow.
yeah. But I
Yeah, it's
think the
right.
the thing is also you learn the most about yourself. Like if you were
Mhm.
to say in hindsight right now, okay, you're 25 right now and going to America, etc. What would you say is the biggest lessons you learned but also you learned the hard way because you didn't learn it just, you learned it because you experienced it, and you could maybe tell younger self, like, what are the biggest lessons you learned from the big leaps?
Well, that's a tough question. I don't know. I never thought about it like that because you're always on the go, 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 go. You never really think about these things. But if I would think now, on the top of my head, mm, yeah, the biggest lesson is never give up, right? If you have a dream, don't let anybody take that from you. You know, you have to protect it. It's your dream. Like I always envisioned myself as a kid when I was trying to become a pro, which eventually I fulfilled my dream. I was in the stadium back then in 2006 at the Cologne game, first Bundesliga, 60,000 people. I told my dad I want to be playing in a stadium like this one day.
Yeah,
And he told me it's a hard way, but to keep believing, and that was my dream and I made it come true, and well, because I never gave up, that was easy. There were so many options where I said I gave up. Appendix, I had surgeries on my leg, surgery on my nose. It's like because of the sport, I could easily given up, but that's you can't give up. Who are you if you give up on you give up on yourself pretty much,
yeah,
right? If you have a dream
yeah,
and you say at some point, like when I stopped playing football, I didn't give up. I said myself, I achieved my dream. I have people wearing my jersey. I played in a big stage. I made myself complete with this. And
yeah,
now I can move on to other things that I want to become the best at. And this is now a longer story, but same thing. Don't give up. Just keep grinding it. It's like, I don't know who said that. I was once, a friend told me, also an older friend. I have a lot of older friends, because they have a lot of knowledge. And he told me, well, when Picasso started painting, he didn't just directly finish the painting. He did one stroke at the time, and
yeah,
eventually he became Picasso because he did as if you want to build a house, you don't have the house directly. You start at something and then you build brick by brick and you have the house, and this is with every step you have to take to become the best at yourself. So never
yeah,
give up is pretty much one thing. And then, yeah, the other thing, it sounds simple, but just do it, like the Nike
yeah,
slogan. Really just
yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah, 100%. I think, yeah, I think, obviously, I couldn't agree more. I think the thing that, one of the things I've learned in
Mhm.
that spirit, right, is, yeah, you can't give up, but at the same time, it's like you need to, like, yeah, you have the goal, but there's not one
Yes.
way to get there. You might
Mhm.
try this way, it doesn't work. You need to, like, go this way,
Yeah.
and you still have the goal
Mhm.
in mind. But there's many ways up the mountain. You have to be.
Mhm.
You never give up on climbing the mountain, but you need to,
No. Yeah.
'cause you're
Figure
gonna
it
be
out.
rolling time. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So, yeah, 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 I love that. But, figuring out, okay, I'm at this wall. Okay, let's not keep bashing into the same wall again and again, bro. Like,
Yeah.
what am I doing wrong? What can I change?
Yeah.
How can I,
Exactly.
that kind of, spirit.
That's what I did as well. Wait, let me show you. I have always like had, and I still have these books. I have like so many of these. I always have these books or had these books where I would
Yeah.
always write down in the end of the day, what did I do today?
Mm.
What could I do better? And then what do I do the next day?
Yeah.
Always write it down. And now I have a book where it's like back in when I was playing sport, when we had a game, I would always write a little note with goals that I want to achieve the night before the game. And during the game, I would always wear this piece of paper in my shin guards. It was
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much always clean sheet, like no goals conceded because I want to have one of these, which I then got eventually. Clean sheets, no goal against, win the game, do something new. I don't know, just play with your left foot. Like at some point you start to play with yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you achieve things. And then now I always have one next to my bed because right before you fall asleep, there's like a period of time where your mind starts um, detach
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
from
Your
the day to
subconscious
day
mind kind
because
of thing. Yeah.
yeah, it starts evolving because now as you go, it's the day mind is working. Okay, I have to do this. I have a meeting. Okay, what meeting? Okay, job. Okay, 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 bam. Okay, go shopping, drive around.
Yeah.
But then you lay in bed and you're like, oh, no, and just laying in bed. So now your mind starts wandering, and the most beautiful ideas or like ideas are popping up. So I'm writing everything down.
Yeah.
I'm writing everything down, and then often I had things where you rethink things, or what did this guy say in the meeting and what did he really mean with it, and I always question, like a lot. I always question when I'm not talking, I'm questioning myself. right? Like, what is the reason right now? Why are we sitting here? You know, why? Okay, because because I met you there, and okay, yes, cool. Okay, why did he say that in the meeting? Okay,
Yeah,
because 3 years ago he said that. So that means now he's trying to do something that I don't. There's always something behind it, because everybody asks themselves, especially in the business world, what is in for me, right?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and you have to get down to the source of it. You have to, like, I always see it as well as, or I try to see it as a game of check. You know, where you play everything as a move. What is
yeah,
the intention behind that? You know, if we, let's say we're in a negotiation where we are right now, for example, in a big negotiation of an M&A transaction. What is the reason that he's saying that? Why is he maybe portraying something that this make believe? But what is the reason of it? You know, what is his idea about things, which might not be anything bad or wrong, but it
yeah.
helps you to understand the things better that you do right now. This is why I write everything down.
Yeah, it sounds like you're someone that's very analytical and you're
Hmm.
always looking to connect different dots and you're trying to understand why people are doing what they're doing. They're trying to think, okay,
Hmm.
how I see I'm trying to understand, you're putting yourself in their shoes, how they coming at this.
Exactly.
And if they're
And,
coming at this way, like, it's like a chess
mhm.
piece, they're gonna do this move, then I'm gonna do this move. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Exactly, yeah. And you have to play the game. But this is not only in business or in sports. In sports, it's actually, you can apply that to the, let's say you have a relationship, you have a girlfriend.
yeah,
But your girlfriend might say something which for you in your way of thinking is completely like what the fuck did just happen, But
yeah,
then don't say that and shut it down. That's what I
yeah,
did. I said then, why? Okay, what? Okay, she said that. That's crazy. Or I said something, or
yeah,
whatever. My
yeah,
dad said something. What makes her say it? What is the
mm,
emotion behind it?
yeah.
Maybe she was just trying to do something with me, and I was so focused on my work, I cut her off, and now she fell away, and I didn't even see it. But if you start questioning yourself and questioning people, you start to see, okay, maybe it's just a complete different perspective, and I'm so shut in my own way thinking, where I have to get out to understand the bigger picture. You know?
Yeah, I read a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and one of the principles is seek to understand before you look to be understood. So it's
Oh,
like
that's great. I have to write that down. You have to
yeah,
text me that later.
there's example in the train and there's a guy and his
Uh,
kids, they're going crazy, you know what I'm saying? And this guy's looking like kind of sad or whatever. And the people on the train, like this kid, his kids are being so noisy, they're being loud, like tell your kids to shut up, you know
mhm.
what I mean? Then they go to he's like, you're gonna tell your kids to like, shut up, you know what I mean? And he
Yeah,
looks,
yeah.
he's like, oh, and he's like, "Oh, their mum just died," and
Mm,
and then it's like, you see one thing and
yeah,
then you understand and you're like, "Oh shit, like, I'm sorry," you know what I mean?
mm,
I did you know what I mean? So, like, you
yeah.
seek to
That's true.
understand why are they thinking this way, like, because
That's
what
true.
you see, yeah, I get it, I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, yeah. So this way, that's just to get back to what I would do. I write everything down. Analyze your day. Analyze your practice. Like, do it for yourself as well. Maybe that helps you. Write down your after you work out what did go, what was good, what wasn't good, and then try to see why wasn't it good and what can I do
Oh,
to make it
it
tomorrow better.
It's funny you're saying this because I feel like everyone that does entrepreneurship, we all do. I do this. I write every session
Oh yeah,
down. I
yeah,
write notes.
perfect.
I copy and paste it. I say,
Mhm.
okay, this one I could slow down the form a bit more next time. This one,
Yes.
I can go quick. I'm going too slow. Or this time, I got less weight. I need to beat this time next week. Or and then the same thing. Like I've my diary right here. You know what I'm saying? I have even questions.
Yeah, that's
And
perfect.
every day, I have 5 critical tasks I need to do.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So like instead of everyone's all there's no busyness award. What did you get
Yes.
done? So then, you
Yeah,
write down
because that's
yeah.
what I always saying when you are training, you're in the training, but you train because you train, right? But then actually sometimes it gets an automatism, like, right?
Mm,
Let's say if I do a goalkeeper training, at some point it's all repetition. At some point you're at the level where you know the basics, and now it's just making like perfecting the basics, like have the hand go up at the same time, always have the form. It doesn't matter where I can do it blindly, because it's an automatism, and sometimes you're caught in it and you don't even realize what's going on, what you're doing right now. So after training,
yeah,
I would always write everything down, what I just did, and then re-jogged it. And a really big thing is what I did as well is before we had a championship game or any game, I would already envision myself in the warming up.
mm,
I would already envision right before I went to sleep, or sometimes I fell asleep during the process. Like, let's say we have a championship game. Um, okay, tomorrow I wake up, I drink the smoothie, I, I I read my book, I do my stretching, and I did it like as I would do it right now. I'm
Yeah.
driving to the stadium, and then I'm in a warming up, and then I'm warming up. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I do my routine. I went through them ahead, and then the game starts, and then I stopped. And then when the actually the day of the event came, I was like, oh, I was already here. I already know
Mm,
everything. I know what I'm doing now. I know what happens next. I know what happens next, and I'm prepared. I was already here. So you already had the stress level yesterday while you were thinking in your head, and you had the whole night to comprehend it and to think about it. So now I'm just doing it. I was already here, you know.
yeah.
That's what what I always tell people when they ask me for advice, how to prepare for things or nervous. People were always nervous. Say, "Are you not nervous?" No, I'm not nervous. Why would I be nervous?
Yeah, it's
I
like
was already, I was already
visualizing.
here. Mhm.
Yeah, it's like visualizing, things before they happen. So when you're in the moment, not only are you like prepared, but you've seen it before. You know what to do. I think I heard like this study, and they talk about there's people that they shoot a basketball, and they try and get better, and there's people that they just imagine it in their mind, and there's people that
Yeah.
don't do anything. They don't imagine it, and they don't do it. The people that just imagine it in their mind, they almost get the same practice as the person actually shooting the
Yes.
hoops because
Yes.
your mind doesn't know the difference or something, right? So
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
yes, I'm getting from here that yeah, like, the power of the mind, you know what I'm saying? Like the
Mhm.
power of setting intentional actions every single day, ticking them off, not only just doing them and going through the motions, but okay, what did I do? How can I be better? And then obviously if you do that today, how can you not get better, right? Like that's
Yeah.
and that applies to
Yeah,
sport,
it's
applies
true.
to business, applies to everything.
Mhm.
100%. I mean, we've covered a decent bit there, we got the, football, we got some business. And we even talked about, your experience in Europe and coming to America and the difference, kind of there. I mean, we've talked a lot about also about the past, you know what I'm saying? But looking into the future, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
One thing I wanna, just get your perspective on is like you want to move to America. In your head right now, like what are the main reasons, even after come to America, having your family in Germany, whatever, like why do you still want to go back? Like what is, I
Mhm.
know you said the entrepreneurship, the vibe, but what is it that speaks to you enough to be like, okay, no, my future is in America.
Um, I would say a big reason for it is also right now how the politics are here in Germany or Europe in general, where I say,
Mm.
oh, they're really making it hard for entrepreneurs or young people in general to do something. But this is not the main reason. The main reason for me is because when I came to the US, and it was already some sort of when I was in Newberry, when I traveled to Miami or to New York, I was there often, where I got to know, oh, it's something bigger than what I know. And then
Yeah.
when I came to Santa Barbara, I said, wow, I want to be here. Like you have the weather is perfect. It's summer all the time. You have great people. Because obviously Santa Barbara is not a place where you move in and it's pretty much for me, Santa Barbara is a place where you go when you have made it. When you
Mm.
have made enough
Yeah,
money
you
and
go
now
when
you
you're
want to
older,
settle
the old
down.
people in
Yes.
Monastery, oh, you get a house, yeah.
Yeah. So now I don't want to go to Santa Barbara. I know in my head already at some point I will be in Santa Barbara and I manifest that. I know it. I told
Yeah,
myself the first week I'm here, like, well, I would never want to leave.
yeah,
you
yeah,
know? Um, but the main reason is for me because you always have to ask yourself, what is the best for me in my habit that I'm doing right now? What could be the best? Is it really the best to be here in a smaller town or to be in Cologne? How is the
yeah.
situation? Or is it better maybe to go to a place that is quickly, it's open-minded and is enthusiastic for business? And if you want to do that, you just, everything you learn here, you can, why wouldn't I be able to do it over there as well? You always have to think, what's the difference? It's just a different name to the city. It might be difficult because there are some barriers, but you will overcome it. Like you said with the wall, if it doesn't work out, find a different way to go around the wall. Maybe climb over it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I think one of the biggest things that I saw this, like, graphic, and it shows, like, what's it the value of the top companies, in
Yeah.
America, like, Apple, Nvidia,
Mhm.
these companies, and it's like on a have you ever played, that game Agario? Maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about. It's like these circles, and then you eat other circles, and you become a bigger circle,
Oh,
you
yes,
know?
I know what you mean.
So
Yes.
they had like a graph, and it showed like the size of the companies, like, however many billions of dollars or even trillions,
Mhm.
I don't know. And then it showed like Europe, the GDP of the entire
Yeah, I
country,
know.
right?
Yes.
It- Like Apple or some of these biggest companies in America, one company is worth more money than the entire like European countries. So it's like the business in America is just crazy, and America
Yes.
has the most millionaires in the world by far. I think it was like,
Mhm.
was it 27? No, it's probably more than that, but it had the most millionaires by far, you know what I'm saying? Even though,
Yes.
like, China has tons of people as well, nowhere near as many
Mhm.
millionaires. So it's like, for business, America's the place to be, right?
Yeah, not only for business, but you also have to say, for cause business is business. Okay, you can do business anywhere, but really, what it comes down to is the quality of life. You know, where I see I'm happy there. You know, that's what I always say: be happy first, and then everything else will be happy. Because if you run around grumpy the whole time, nobody wants to do business with you anyways, right?
Yeah, yeah, very
Uh,
true.
I think for me myself, it's like the lifestyle in the US that you can live, but you can, you know, there's also the other side to the medal, which can go down the hill really quick if you, let's say, don't have enough money or you don't be able to you live in the best area. But I want to obviously go for the best, you know, if I can, I shoot for the best, you know, and I want to have a good lifestyle. I really liked the environment just in California was unbelievable. It's different than New York, but I like in New York as well because it has different parts which has their upsides and downsides. But in total, I don't think there's any country in the world that can give you that experience where you have the Rocky Mountains and then you have the beach and then you have almost a rainforest somewhere, you know, and it's like it's great. That's why I
Yeah.
love it.
You even have we went to Mammoth one time, you got the mountains and the snow even in one place.
Yeah,
It's crazy. I agree.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
California, like, for me, Laguna Beach, San Diego,
Mhm.
Orange County is probably number 1 out of all the places that I've seen. Is it only New
Yes,
York? I mean, you must have traveled for soccer as well, like, there's other places that you've been to and California still
yeah,
stood out
yeah.
as the best? 'Cause there's obviously places you haven't been, right?
Well,
At
I've
least
traveled to a lot of places in the US, like states. Seen a lot, but obviously not everything. Like I have never been to Houston. I've never been to like there's so many nice places I still have to discover, and I would love to do that. But I would say for me, California is definitely the place to be at some point because I was just now in California again. I was 1 week in Santa Barbara, and then I was 1 week in LA, Beverly Hills. My friend has a house there. And
Yeah,
it's just like you wake up in the morning, you have the sun, you're already
yeah,
happy, and then it was a transition coming back to Germany. I'm like, oh no, man, it's snowing already. It's raining. It's like cold. The sun
yeah.
the sun goes up at like 8, like very early, and then it goes down very early as well. It's like it's already dark here, and you know, it's
No, I
yeah,
understand, bro.
big shift.
Brother and my dad just came over for a week, and
Hmm.
it's in what, October, no, end of October, and it's sunshine here. We go back,
Yeah,
it's dark at 4 p.m. in the UK, and it's
yeah,
raining and
no.
it's cold. It's like I agree. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So yeah, bro, we have similarities in that. But I think overall it's just very interesting, two people from Europe come to America, in the same place. And
Hmm.
it just the biggest takeaway for me is like, it's not just me who thinks this way. There really is like a bigger world out there. And if you can just get there, you know what I mean, and be
Hmm.
there, it's crazy, you know what I mean? So, it does exist and it's real. And, people, just because people in where you're from, they don't believe or they have things to say, like me and you have both experienced it. So we both know, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I agree, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and that's also what I saw always when I was talking to you that you also were hungry for more, and you were like, let's say, the regular student that you would cross on the campus every day. Like there was more to it, you know. You were always like asking questions and how can I do that, and you were not me, but asking yourself always how can I become a better person. I really enjoyed that. That's why I always like to talk with you. You know, when we had our
yeah.
haircuts, it wasn't just a haircut; it was like a talk about everything pretty much. So I really enjoyed that always.
100%. I gotta give a shout out to you as well, with, I went there. I think you taught me a bunch about the videography, just even like business, you had more experience than me for sure. And yeah, just even like, I think I took a couple shots on your camera. I learned more about that stuff, and then, yeah,
Yeah.
it was very refreshing in a sense because as you said, like, UCSB is a bubble, the people are a certain way, but it was like refreshing to have someone, who I know is much more like, like-minded, in an environment where,
Mhm.
the people, some people there, I don't
Yeah.
know, they're living in a different planet. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it's completely different people.
yeah,
Yeah.
bro. I mean, I guess one of the last questions I got is like, you know, what's next for you? You mentioned, so a couple things in the future. You're looking at maybe actually owning a gym, and you're looking to even,
Mhm.
maybe, M&A deal for, mergers and acquisitions, maybe sell this company that you've been building. And then, I'm guessing you're using it as a stepping stone to then maybe when you hopefully get into the American market, or, what's the plans for the future? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the ambitions for Leroy at this point in time?
Yeah, for me, it's just really focusing on the business side of what I'm doing. Like, first of all, it's just staying healthy. Staying healthy and still doing all my to dos that I have to do, but really focusing on the business. I want to grow the business that we
Yep.
have over the extent that we have right now. And if there's a door where we might sell or acquire or merge with a different company to do that, then obviously there are steps to it, but you have to like evaluate, is this the right deal? Is it going to help you or not help you grow? Oftentimes people or businesses, especially startups, come to a stage where now you need more
Money.
financial
Yeah.
support. You need maybe a bigger team of sales, and maybe you merge with a company that is in a similar market where now you have the same customer you can do upscales together with. um, so obviously, yes, there is a deal going on, and who knows what will work out or will not work out. And this is definitely one thing, but regardless of that, I want that the company with like Arcade, it's called Arcade Pilot, will definitely establish over the next 3 years the position we have right now in Germany, and then also become the number one in Europe, where we merge into different countries like Netherlands, where we are already going into now, Austria, we're already in Austria, but get more clients there. In general, just grow the European market. And then my big goal is, now it's 2026 already, for 2027 to have the first client in the US, and then go into the US market and grow over there. I know we will do it because we are preparing right now the software, we're preparing the hardware, the POS systems, everything to it. And then in that sense, move with it over and continue growing it over there. And then, yes, with the gym, we talked about it. I want to do that, especially for my mom as well, because she's a yoga teacher, Pilates teacher. And I want to give her the stage where I'm in a situation where I can right now, where she can become a professional in her ways as well, more than she's already, with the gym attached
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, look, definitely some big plans in the future. And, from my understanding from the whole conversation, it really seems like, because, there's so much information out there, but you are just taking it one step at a time. You're not like, um, it's not like you have like, you're in some course to learn how to sell a gym. You're not in a course to, it's very
Mhm.
much like, true entrepreneurship, problem solving, the
Yes.
next step,
Mhm.
expanding to a different country, then one step, two step, hopefully go to, you know what I'm saying? So it's interesting talking with you right now, because, it seems like, there is a movement now online where
Mhm.
a lot of things is like, someone's done it before, or, there's a course on how to do XYZ, or like, but the truth of it is, there's like a saying, if you go to where the puck is, by the time you get there, it's left. You know what I'm saying? But if you go,
Oh,
like, you
yes.
need to go where you think the puck's gonna go, right? Like, because if you go to where everyone else is going, by the time you get there, it's finished. So it sounds like you're
Yeah,
really
it's
living that
true.
right now. And yeah, if there was a blueprint, that means there's probably not a business model, because so many people have already done it, right? So it seems like you're really in that
Yes.
stage right now. And yeah, you're just taking it one step at a time.
Mhm. Yeah, but sometimes that's everything and really anything that you can do. That's you just have to really um execute the small steps and do the right task at the right time, and don't overpace yourself. Sometimes we want so much, but then we think so much ahead, and we realistically, that's always the way you have to hold yourself accountable. Where are you right now, actually? So maybe you can't create a new card reader right now for 150,000. That's what we do right now. We couldn't have done that in the beginning. If we would have done that, we probably I don't know what would happen. We couldn't have paid ourselves anymore, or something else would have happened. But now we're in a situation where
Yeah.
we can do it. So we just did a new development for a card reader, which is around 150,000, because there's ways to do it, and you have to take it step by step. And now the next step is getting the card reader on the market, and then building the market around it again. And, it's always steps.
I guess one more question is just like, is there any books? Like, are you a big reader? You know what I'm saying? Is there anyone that's
Mhm.
inspiring you? Like, for example, I'm just thinking of what you're saying with maybe even Zaves. Like, I read a book, Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. And like, hearing that
Oh,
story again
yeah.
is not A to
Uh,
Z. It's all like, this problem, then this problem, then this problem, then this problem. And it's like, I don't know, is there anyone that you get inspired by? You see their story, you're like, even if it's not
Oh,
obviously
no, no.
card reading, it's just the principles, right? Or
Oh,
you're more
no, I
just like
don't,
on
I
your
don't
own
have,
path.
yes, pretty much just, I don't know. I'm not a big reader. I mean, these are not books, these are dictionaries. This is dictionaries about European history because I'm a big history guy, and there's just books about all the
History.
wars that were going on.
Mm.
So there's like a lot of universal dictionaries, geography, history. There's actually a lot of like I'm not good at math, but there's a math dictionary. But I just like to read sometimes. Like I don't need the quantum physics or something, but I like
Yeah,
reading
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Just to distract my mind sometimes. It's the same when I did a lot of sport and football. Right, I'm playing football, like playing soccer. I'm football. Um, I would love to always go swimming. Or heck, when I was playing here in Germany, I used to go do ballet as well. Just to get my hips loose. It sounds weird, but I did that just to
Oh,
get
like,
more flexible.
Arnold did the ballet as well to pose, so it makes sense, bro. You just anything you can to just, learn and use it and
Yeah,
apply it to what you're
exactly.
doing.
Yeah, but then to read right now, I'm reading one book. Not reading, just having like these things. That's what I read. And then I have one book of my friend. His father wrote it. He's a big guy in M&A. So is my friend. So and the father has a book, and I'm just reading it to see, how he would do things or how is he explaining the different terminologies of the matter. Just to get myself working with this. But other than that, I don't have anybody that I look up to in a sense of it was always my dad and my grandpa, but they didn't do anything that I do. But I guess just to the what's the name again in English for it? For the character, never giving up, discipline, loyal to your family, loyal to your friends, then loyal to yourself. You know, to that, these are the principles that they taught me. That's what I
Yeah.
look up to, and that's what guides me through maybe a difficult time sometimes.
Yeah, interesting. What I'm gathering from that is like you're learning from experience and you're applying like values, internal values, and then you're using that to make decisions in the world. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, you're not like reading something to dictate what you're doing now or really take inspiration.
Mhm.
You're kind of just like using your conscious to guide you and then figuring out as you go along.
Yes, pretty much.
100%, bro.
That's it.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. If anyone's watching this, where can they find you? Is there anything you want to plug right now? Yeah.
Well, there's the only thing where I'm public pretty much is just Instagram. It's
Mhm.
Leroy_1. It's where I'm public to anybody. Well, I'm actually planning to build a brand around it and start now like how you do the Instagram videos and little like vlogs going on. It's just a big jump for me to do it because I don't have a lot of time for it, but I want to do it and just take people on the way. Like for example,
Mm.
when I have an appointment somewhere, I would love to document that now, but I don't know how to
Yeah.
do it, so I have to like figure it out with time. But like I said, there's always time if you really want something, so I can't talk about myself right now, so I have to figure it
Yeah.
out.
Well, I know that you have like if you were someone else, but you have the knowledge. You can post
Yeah,
like
yeah,
quality, you can edit. So yeah, you can do that for sure. Like, yeah, it's just about, applying that. But anyways, bro, it's been a pleasure. Um,
yes,
yeah. See you guys in
yeah.
the next
Same
video.
here. Same here. Thank you very much for having me. That was really good talking to you about that. I mean, we didn't talk too much in the last year, but because we were both busy. But now we had like a big talk about this and last week as well. It's always good to what's it called? Catch up and talk on a
Yeah.
deeper level.
100%, bro. I think it's awesome that we have that, bro. We'll always have that shared experience at UCSB.
Yeah.
That always hold a special place for me because it's just
Yeah.
it's an
Same.
amazing place.
Yeah.
But
Same.
yeah, I'm glad to see you all the success in the football and then now transitioning to the business stuff, bro. So I wish you all the best, bro.
Yeah, but also for you, it's great that you built something. I remember we were talking about it, and you had like I don't know how many followers did you had 1,000 or something, and now you have like how many?
I think when I first met you, I must have had maybe like a couple thousand. I think it was my freshman year, and then it took
Yes.
off.
Yeah.
Now I got like 62,000. You know what I'm
Yeah, it's
saying?
great. And now you moved in your own place and a new place, a second new place. It's you by yourself as well. Tell somebody from the US to go in Germany and or UK and do something. Difficult.
Yeah,
It's
bro.
difficult.
Well, look, I think you were in UCSB, definitely almost like a big bro there, like,
Yeah.
give me advice and stuff. So obviously, yeah, bro, it's great to catch up and also get your story kind of just, in at least a video form because I think it's definitely a cool story. It's a unique one. And yeah, there'll be people that can relate for sure. And, it's inspirational. So, bro,
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, see you guys in the next video. Peace.